Good evening, everybody. I'm Helen Farrell from the Florentine. I'm delighted to be live this evening with Sheryl Ness and her husband, Vincenzo Jan. I've got it wrong already. With Vincenzo, her husband.
Exactly.
And they're joining us from the States. So do you want to tell us a little bit, Cheryl and Vincenzo, about yourselves and why we're talking this evening?
Thank you so much, Helen, and thank you for this invitation to join the Florentine, one of my favorite publications. So actually, Vincenzo and I met after I asked him for a recipe in his restaurant in Tuscany. And so I'm originally from Minnesota, which is where we are right now. We're in our Minnesota kitchen. We moved back here a few years ago after being together, really living in San Guzmán, where we originally met in this little village. And that's what the book is about, Love in a Tuscan Kitchen. It's about that journey, my journey to Italy, and why I found it just so inspiring and beautiful. My spirit kind of took me there. I didn't know why sometimes, but eventually when I met Vincenzo, I understood why. I was supposed to meet him. And so that experience was just the whole inspiration for the book was around the food, the culture, meeting Vincenzo, and that, kind of eye-opening experience of living in a different country, learning a new language, really in the middle point of my life. I was 41 when I met him. So really kind of a different story, and I hope to inspire people because of it.
It is truly inspiring. I very much enjoyed reading it. I mean, there are, let's face it, there are a large number of books about Tuscany.
Yes, there are.
And some are more famous than others, and some are better written than others. And yours is wonderfully written, Cheryl. It really does, paint a picture of your life in Tuscany when you were living here, how you met Vincenzo, and all of the wonderful sort of village characters that you met. It's beautifully portrayed. Maybe there's a scene that we were talking about before we went live where you met Vincenzo's, you met your in-laws for the first time. Yes. Abruzzo. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about this episode and how it went and what was inspired from that.
Yes. So the book has, really our story from start to finish. And the middle part of the book, just into it, is really important for me to share what it was like to meet Vincenzo's parents, to be embraced by his family, and to learn the culture of Abruzzo was different than Tuscany. And in fact, we traveled there during the evening and the night hours, and I remember I knew we were traveling up a mountain. I could tell that, but I couldn't see anything, and I was getting like a little car sick. And we arrived to his parents' house, which was just, so warm and inviting. They had the fire in the fireplace, and his mom was cooking for us a feast. Of course, yes. It was a feast. So in Abruzzo,
it's always a feast, isn't it? It's always a feast.
Always a feast. And so I arrive and meet his parents, and they're speaking in a dialect. In fact, Vincenzo and his brother did the whole way in the car, and I kept thinking, okay, I know I don't completely understand Italian very well, but this is like a foreign language to me. So, just having to adjust them to the dialect and having them, they did adjust back to true Italian for me so I could understand. But now I have absorbed some of those beautiful expressions in Abruzzese, would you say? And of course the foods that Concetta made that night. She made her famous red sauce, and then I think there was roasted rabbit or chicken.
No, it's lamb.
Was it lamb? Oh, there was a roasted meat, and then of course, all kinds of things in between. Yeah, she's sort of, that home cook that you just dream about in Italy. And Vincenzo had grown up in this multi-generational family with the nonna in the kitchen cooking for the family. And that was his inspiration, Nonna Ida,
yes.
To become a chef. In Abruzzo, where he's from, it's called Rocca Scalegna, and it has this beautiful castle that's really old. It's from like the 800s. I mean, imagine I woke up the next day and I looked out, and in the distance I saw this, and I thought, oh, this is beautiful. I thought Tuscany was beautiful, but Abruzzo is a different kind of beauty. and it's steeped in the history of farming, very similar to my background in Minnesota. And I think that's probably what drew me to Tuscany too, is that it's very much steeped in that history of peasant food and farming. Even though the farming is different, obviously it's olives and grapes and wheat, but the whole culture of, you know, protecting the foods and making them special and in season, it's very similar to my upbringing here in Minnesota. I grew up on a farm, and so it was fun to, you know, just his parents in Abruzzo were from that same kind of background, and their neighbors made fresh cheese, for example, and she would run over and get fresh eggs for different dishes, and you know, just seeing that everything is kind of everyone takes care of each other and uses local fresh whenever possible. That really inspired me too. That it was just a really special life that they lived, and they're still living. And I know you probably experienced that there in Florence with the local markets.
Yeah, it's something that you always cherish, you know, being here. And the other day, a wonderful person came and delivered me a box full of seasonal vegetables just grown down the road, and blue cheese that had just come from the hills near where I live.
Oh my gosh, blue cheese.
These sort of moments that you just absolutely cherish. So here we are at a market. Do you want to describe where we are in this photo? And
I think
there's all gorgeous produce here as well.
Yes, that is probably our local market that we always went to in Castelnuovo Veredenga, and that's just down the road from San Guzmán. It was my outing for the week. Thursday, I would, you know, either get on the bus or take the car, and I would drive 10 minutes down the road to the local market. And I described this in the book too, because for me it was so special to see everyone out shopping. It was a social opportunity. It was a time to catch up with the people that you maybe didn't see during the week otherwise. And of course, get the roasted chicken
with French fries.
Which was my
story. That's a good one as well.
It's great. And then I always love to stop in for a coffee at the bar where we first had our first date and say hello to them. And you know, also it was my tradition, and it was my way of staying spiritual and connected to what was my heart really. Was I would stop into the little church that was always open, and I would light a candle for myself and for my family back home, and for anyone who I was thinking of who needed kind of those special thoughts or prayers. And to me, that was really a special time, and it was my routine. And I love the fact that in Italy, your churches are open pretty much anytime you want to go in and just sit and meditate or think of someone or light a candle. And that tradition for me was really important during that time as well. So Thursday was a special day for me.
It's the highlight of the week, market day.
It was.
Even in these times, we're very fortunate that after the major big lockdown in the spring in Italy, our markets have remained open. So
thank
goodness. You know, we can go and chill outside. It's quite cold at the moment in the Tuscan winter, but we can still mask a distance at the market stand. So it is still a gathering place for people. You know,
so that's so important. And you know,
Vincenzo, you come from Abruzzo,
yes.
No? But you ran this restaurant in Tuscany. Is your cooking influenced by both regions still? I mean, do you cook a little bit of Tuscan, a lot of Abruzzese? What's your cooking like now?
Of course, in Tuscany, we need to cook Tuscany.
His restaurant was very traditional Tuscan.
Yes, and because it's almost the same, because Tuscany and Abruzzo is poor.
Very poor.
Is simple for the dishes. This is why it's almost the same.
Like cucina povera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, Tuscany is. I have an opportunity in this little village, San Guzmán. I'm very lucky because every single old people, he teach me for the old recipe.
The elders, the women of the village taught him.
For me, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Maybe we could see the cake that sort of
the celebration cake.
I think we have a photo. There's one cake, but there's another photo. The chocolate love cake.
Right? Yes. Exactly.
Maybe describe to us why this is the chocolate love cake.
Yeah, because when you open the chocolate, it
has a heart
inside
of liquid chocolate that's lovely, and it's the reason we met. So
because she asked me for the recipe.
Yeah.
And when she asked me the recipe, me of course I told her, sorry, I don't speak English. We cannot speak nothing.
And I had been there for a few months with my friends Pam and Sam from Tuscany Tours because I was helping them with their business a little bit and on a sabbatical from work. And so I ate at his restaurant a lot. It was right in the heart of the village.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks we would go, and I would be able to join this group of tourists and visitors who would come through with Tuscany Tours.
Mm-hmm.
And this was always the dessert every time. And I was so happy that it was because I loved it. And it was probably the last dinner, very similar, very close to when I would be leaving and returning to Minnesota. I think it was 2 weeks before.
Mm-hmm.
I was eating it really slow, and I said, sort of under my breath, I could eat this every day. And Marco, the maitre d' and the partner said, we are here every day. And then I said, well, I'm leaving soon, so I'd really love to get the recipe. Is that possible? And he said, sure, let's go talk to Vincenzo. And I was so surprised because, in the U.S., you can't walk into a kitchen and talk to a chef ever. It's sort of out of bounds, and so I just kind of said, okay, I'll go and talk to the chef. This is going to be fun because I love to cook and I loved Italian food.
And for me, it's a good surprise because of course, when the people like it.
He likes to know that people are enjoying it.
And when she asked me the recipes, for me, I am happy, my panic because no speak English.
So
I think this is one of my favorite pages in the book. I don't know if we can quite it, but it's the recipe that you wrote down after meeting me. I think that's lovely. It's a little heart on the recipe right there as well.
I felt something special, definitely. There was a spark. I didn't know what to do about it because I thought, well, I'm leaving soon. I don't speak Italian very well. I could understand it pretty well, but to have a conversation with him, especially about a recipe, I thought, okay, well, this is going to take more than just me. And thank goodness, at that very moment, Emma, who I became so close with during my time, she was about 7 at that time, and she knew Vincenzo very well because the kids of the village used to watch him cook from the back door. And she ran into the kitchen right behind me and jumped up into his arms.
Okay, she always.
She always wanted to touch his head. Anyway, and she's, she was bilingual. She could speak English and Italian, and she also loved the cake.
Yeah, of course.
And she loved to cook with me. So we call her, to this day, we call her our Cupid and our connector, because she helped me get the recipe. She went back with me the next day and helped me understand. And then Vincenzo asked me out on a date after that. And
I don't know why I am happy for ask, but when she responded me, yes, I am happy, but okay, panic because now it's crazy because no English. And you imagine 2 people in the bar with
we had our dictionaries. Yeah.
Dictionary.
Yeah, we were the only 2 people in the bar with our dictionaries, and I know they were like Sylvia. I'm sure she's still to this day remembers that.
Yes, always.
And I really was panicked too because I thought, why did I say yes? I said yes before I could even think of it. And I actually tried to cancel, but I didn't know how I would cancel the date. So I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go and just get to know this guy better. And I'm so glad I did. That was how our story started. So we often cook now. We cook with people. We teach cooking classes here. Now they're virtual because of COVID.
Of
but so Tuscany Tours has a program called Bring Italy Home. So if you go to TuscanyTours.com, they have like a little menu of art, music, cooking. It's a way of connecting us in the States and around the world with something we love so much, but we can't do right now, which is travel to Italy and cook together in our, like, we can't go to your kitchen and cook, but so we're doing some virtual cooking classes, and they're offering some really, really beautiful experiences through their local guides. And I know you're doing this too. It's really so helpful to have these experiences right now when we can't travel.
I know, I mean, every day, you know, at the Florentine, we receive emails from our Italy loving, Tuscany loving friends in the States, and it's like, when can we come back, or what can we do to help? You know, there's a lot of that going on. So we're all recreate the experience until the day that we're all able to get back on a plane again and be here. Shelley says, my heart is full listening to this story. So I mean, that's nice. You know, that's what we're trying to do, and you know, give people some happy time on a Friday.
And Shelley, I know Shelley from a mutual friend, and this has been really just the beautiful thing about writing this book. I wasn't sure if I wanted to share that. It's a really kind of intimate story, but I wanted to share the incredible experience I had, especially with the elders and understanding the traditions of this little village. It was just incredible. But the people who have reached out to me through after reading the book, it's just been like something I never expected to have so much support from friends all over. Shelley is a person who connected with me from a mutual friend in the Washington area, and now she's in Minnesota. And you know, people like, of course, Andrew Cocteau, who you interviewed a while back, he wrote a beautiful book that I connected with, Cucina Tipica. And now we're friends. And I've never met Andrew, but I want to meet him, and I want to, you know, like, that spirit is still alive of friendship and getting to know people. Also, you know, Chiara Borghese, she's a incredible kind of ambassador to the Siena area. She has the site too, and Ishita Sood, I don't know if you know Italiophilia. She's an amazing woman from India who has the same passion for making sure that people understand how special Italy is, and it's an incredible place that is we're all missing right now. We usually go back for a long visit every year, and the last time we were there was, you know, really late in 2019. Yes. And we had a long visit, so it was like a really special time for us, and we just can't wait, you know, to come back.
I hope.
And our friends at Paperback Exchange in Florence were so kind to have us host a book reading and signing. That was one of my favorite things about that visit, was to be in Florence and see people that we hadn't seen for a while and present our story.
Especially because, you know, it's old village, of course, San Jose. It's a lot of people is old. Yeah. For me, it's everybody. It's grandpa for me.
Yeah, like
grandma.
Noni.
And you know, I am lucky for now. Is everybody's okay?
Yeah, we're worried, of course, that how everyone will do through this, and the elders of the village, and you know, there's special chapters on them because I wanted to honor the history and the stories of these people. I know that I could write a whole book actually about their stories and their history. Just the traditions that they told me about, the history of even the war, that some of them remembered World War II and being occupied. And, you know, the stories that they had, I just thought were so important to tell. So for example, also Vincenzo, who is a tailor. And, you know, he worked in Paris with, you know, Valentino. And then he decided he was going to come back and go back to his roots and be in San Jose, but people would come from all over for him to, you know, create these custom dresses and suits. And he had such incredible history to tell. And he loved, you know, he just loved it when you would stop in with a coffee or an ice cream. And he, you know, it was a half an hour of catching up.
Yes, always in the restaurant for the coffee.
He would always go in the restaurant for his coffee. And then he would give you the news, like the gossip, right? You info.
One of the things I love is because I don't live in Florence, I live just outside, and in the village where I am, all I have to do is open the window, and you can hear some gossip that's unfurling outside, you know, and it's a sense of community, and the fact it's even when we're shut inside, we still away with the shops downstairs, that you know that the community is still ongoing and it's still active and we're still united in some sort of way. So I mean, it's a wonderful feeling. We have messages as well. Pam, I think it's Pam. Yes. Hi, Cheryl and Vincenzo. All of us in Sangus know you. So there you go.
We miss you so much, Pam and Sienna. Emma and Sienna. Our second family, really.
And Andrew says hello. Andrew's tuning in.
Hi, Andrew.
Stacey, I can't wait to read it. I need a story to lift my heart.
Stacey, I hope you love it.
Michelle as well says, you are making me very hungry right now. I miss the fresh seasonal eating and markets, and asks, where can I order Love in a Tuscan Kitchen book?
Yes. So we do have a website, loveinatuscankitchen.com, where you can click and it takes you basically to Amazon, which is the best place to get it right now. So Amazon carries it. It's a Kindle version or paperback. Many people like the hard copy because of the recipes. So I can just say, if you're a recipe person, probably get the hard copy because you might want it in your kitchen. And we've had so much fun. You know, when I decided to write the book, I took my inspiration actually from Frances May's, of course, Under the Tuscan Sun, how she wrote that book and she sprinkled it with recipes. I just enjoyed that so much. It took me into her kitchen and her experience. And so I wanted to do that same thing with the chapters that I had written, because food was such an important part of our story. And of course, Vincenzo being a chef and his connection with his mom and his grandmother's cooking. I put basically all my favorite recipes in the book. And there was
incredibly generous.
And me like it, the original recipe, old recipe.
It's very old school, very traditional.
Yes, in fact, this is why sometimes I like it to teach here the people the authentic Italian food, non-American Italian style.
Because we Americanize everything. I mean, even my own heritage is Norwegian and Scottish, and we don't have any traditional recipes that I mean, a few things, maybe some sweets, you know, some of the sweets that we keep traditional, but, you know, to have that experience of real authentic Italian food, unless you're in Italy, you might not get that experience. And so that's what we love to do with people here in small groups. You can book us for a cooking class or a dinner, a special dinner.
Because of course here you have a lot of Italian restaurant, but it's not authentic.
It's not
of course, because I understand. Yes, but this is why I like it to teach the people authentic food, which is original.
Often he teaches about making gnocchi.
Sometimes it's difficult for found the ingredients. But I am lucky here for now. It's okay.
It's the freshness and the seasonality, isn't it? It's finding things that you know. This is the Italian cooking has this natural rhythm to it, and we just follow it with the ribollita and the soups in the winter, and then you know asparagus and mint and light. And it's hard to replicate that outside of Italy. I think I mean, I'm from the UK, it's the same thing, you know. I say one of the reasons I can never move back to the UK is that I can't have a decent tomato, you know.
I know.
In fact, this why it's not easy. This way I understand some restaurant, Italian restaurant, understand why it's not authentic.
It's not the same.
But this is why I repeat. I sometimes I like it. Dishes.
Well, we get inspired.
Because Italian, all Italian, of course, is beautiful, is good food, and sometimes me don't like it when we change, you know.
Yeah, he's really traditional, and I love that.
For this, I am very old.
He's old school, and I think that's one of the things I wrote about in the book too, is the traditional recipes that the ladies of the village would make for the big pot of ribollita, the story about chopping the vegetables with them and having it be a recipe that was in her head, that Lena had in her head.
Yeah, because of course
I was just amazed.
All the people don't have the recipe. The recipe is in the mind.
It's the same way.
There's a phrase that I love in Italian cookbooks or recipe magazines, and it's when it says "cubi quanto basta."
Exactly, cubi. Yeah.
It's like how on earth you translate "quanto basta" as much as needed, but I mean it depends on your taste, and the amount of salt that I would put into a vegetable soup is very different from the amount of salt that my mother-in-law would put into a soup. I mean, it's funny, it's amusing the way that measurements really don't matter, and recipes are just invented. They're in people's heads, and they get passed down just by watching. It's
I know fun. His mother's recipes took me a long time to get written down because she would do it so quickly, or she would do something and I would miss it, and so I'd have to wait a minute, stop. But the quanto basta, we do have the book translated into Italian, and actually the recipes were probably the most difficult to get translated because we had to get them back into grams, and the quanto basta QB is everywhere.
And here, of course, you use cups.
Yes.
You ounces is different. Some people use ounces, some people use cups, tablespoon. This is why it's not easy.
Yeah, but
especially for me.
We're really hoping to get it out in Italian. We've done some real focused work on it. We've worked with a translator from Abruzzo, actually, who's helped us, and we have it ready. We're looking for an international sort of publisher that could help us with that. We had a fantastic team here in the U.S. It was like an all-female team from Concierge Marketing, Lisa Pelto, Ellie Goodwin, and the cover of the book is actually the restaurant. It's a watercolor done by Paula Wallace, and she took pictures of the restaurant and then a couple other drawings that we had and created the cover of the book. It's so meaningful to me to have that be there because that's where we met, and that's part of our village. It was right across the square from where we lived. So for me, that's such a special thing. And we're hoping that the Italian community would also embrace our story. It's kind of like a love story to Italy in my mind, because I fell in love with it. My heart drew me there, and it keeps drawing me back. Even though we're here in Minnesota, Italy is still a big part of our lives, and we go back and see friends and family, and it's so important.
Now 6 years to stay here. For me, 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years.
I hope that that you and all of our American friends will be able to come back at some point this year or early next year. Who knows? In the meantime, indulge in Cheryl's book, Love in a Tuscan Kitchen.
Thank you.
We would love to hear from you. I hope you love the story. Cook the recipes. Join us for our virtual cooking classes if you like. Look at TuscanyTours.com. They have our menu of different classes. And connect with us on social media. That's a really great place to connect right now. And I think it's been a lifeline for many of us who are missing it so much. So thank you, Helen, for
thank you so much.
Your newsletter and your connection also to the news and what's happening in Florence and the area. It's really important for us to know that. So we appreciate that so much.
You're very welcome. That's why we do it. And we're all in this community together. We're all trying to help Tuscany and help Florence get through this very difficult period, with us depending on tourism. Obviously, we're in the best of situations. But Tuscany and Tuscans and Italians in general are never more inventive and more ingenious.
That's so true.
Yes.
I hope that we might have a new Renaissance or something similar.
That's what I'm hoping too. In the meantime, take a walk for me, take a run, drink the wines, have the cheese. Enjoy every bit.
Cheryl and Vincenzo, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Let's put up the link one more time for our readers out there who would like to have a taste of your very authentic Love in a Tuscan Kitchen. Thank you very much. And one last message for the Florentine viewers out there. On January the 29th at 6 p.m., my colleague Jane will be speaking with the director of the Andrea Bocelli Foundation, which is about to open its doors, new headquarters in Florence in the San Firenze complex. So please tune in then. Please stay tuned. Have a look on the website below, the link below for all of our upcoming events on TF Together. And please do feel free to take out a subscription and help the Florentine if you so wish. Thank you again, Cheryl and Vincenzo.
Thank you. Bye.